Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this episode, I'll tell you how I do company analysis. On what all criteria I pick good stocks. So let's get started. My analysis mainly include two main things. One is the business analysis and the other is the financial analysis. Business analysis is all about understanding about the business which a company is involved in. It is very important to know about the business before going deep into company's financial figures. Through business analysis, we get to know how the company works, what are its inputs and outputs. Once business is understood, then I go with understanding about the sector which the company is involved in. It is important that we always choose a growing sector and not a diminishing one. For example, oil exploration sector is currently diminishing. People are now going for natural gas and electric vehicles. And also, government is not much favoring oil industry. It is very important that we go with the growing industry and not the diminishing ones. Most of the time, I prefer companies which are part of growing industry. After business analysis, I do financial analysis. Financial analysis tells us how company has performed in last few years. In financial analysis, there are few important figures which we need to go through. Number one is company's revenue performance. If a company's revenue performance is growing year on year, then this tells us that the business is growing, which is a good sign. I usually pick companies whose revenue has grown with a 10% CAGR rate in last 5 years. Now, for people who are wondering about what is CAGR, CAGR is a compounded value over a period of time. Let's say a company with a revenue of 100 rupee is growing with a 10% of CAGR rate. So in the next year, company revenue would be 110 rupee. In the second year, a 10% more of 110 rupee will be added. So revenue in the second year will be 121 rupee. In the third year, again a 10% of 121 rupee will be added. So total revenue will be 133.1 rupee and so on. Higher the CAGR tells the company's business is rapidly growing. After revenue performance comes the net profits. Net profit is a figure which we get after deducting expenses, taxes and the interest from the revenues. Interest is the amount which a company pays on the loans if it has taken any loans. Now, basically speaking, net profit is the profit which the company gets after all deductions. Here, I usually prefer companies which have grown their net profits by at least 12% CAGR rate in past 5 years. Next comes debt to equity ratio. This tells us how much loan a company has taken with respect to the equity which it has. Equity here means shareholders' money. So, if debt to equity ratio is 1, then it means that the company has taken a loan which is equal to its equity. It need to be noted that banks and infrastructure companies have a higher debt to equity ratio because their business require a large amount of capital which they get by borrowing loans. For a company which is not a part of a banking or an infrastructure industry, I usually prefer debt to equity to be below 0.2. Next comes operating margin and net profit margin. Operating margin tells us at what margin company is executing its sales. And net profit margin is the figure which we get after deducting taxes and interest paid from operating margin. Let's understand this with an example. Let's say a pen manufacturing company makes a pen at a cost of 10 rupee and it sells this pen at a 12 rupee to shops. So its operating margin here is 2 rupee, that is 20%. Now let's also assume that company pays 1 rupee as taxes to government on each pen sold. So after paying taxes, it is left with 1 rupee, that is 10%, which is its net profit margin. I usually prefer companies with at least 15% operating margin and 11% net profit margin. The other important term in financial analysis is ROE, that is return on equity. This number tells us how much a company has given returns with respect to the equity amount which was put into the company. I prefer to pick companies with at least 15% of ROE. There is one other important term also, and that is PE ratio. PE ratio tells us how cheap or how expensive the company's current stock price is. Low PE means stock is trading at a cheaper value and high PE means stock is trading at an expensive value. So these are few important financial figures which I go through while picking a good stock. When it comes to analyzing a bank or a NBFC, there are few other important numbers as well, like NPA, provisionings, capital adequacy ratio, net interest margin. I have done a separate video on how to analyze a banking stock. Link is in the description. Apart from business analysis and financial analysis, it is important that we also know about the company's management, its shareholding pattern, and its future ambitions. These will further give us a better understanding about the company. So these are some important terms and strategies which I use while analyzing a company. In all my fundamental analysis video which I post on YouTube, I follow the same strategies and methodologies to pick some good stocks. Hope this will help you too in doing your fundamental analysis. You can get to know about company's business and other important numbers in company's annual report. These annual reports are published on BSE and NSE websites. I have placed a link in the description which will guide you to BSE website. If you find it difficult to analyze annual reports, then you can anytime visit my YouTube channel and get to know more about the company and its stock. If you don't find a video relating to a company, then leave a comment below. I'll try to make a fundamental analysis video on that particular company. Hope this was an informative video. If you enjoyed watching this video, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.